Hello everyone, I'm Alex, here with Case Unveiled. Today we explore a chilling case from Fort Worth, Texas, in the spring of 2016. This vicious and callous murder stunned even the most seasoned detectives. The victim was Elizabeth Paula Arellano, a devoted mother of several children and a dedicated paramedic. The identity of her killer is startlingly unexpected. The nature of this tragedy was so bizarre that initially police hypothesized that Elizabeth might have chosen to end her life. However, this idea clashed with eyewitness accounts of a horrifying act. The investigators faced a daunting task to piece together the truth and bring the perpetrator to justice. Despite the heinous nature of the crime, the resulting sentence was viewed by many as disproportionately lenient. Elizabeth Paula Arellano's life began on August 16, 1987, in Fort Worth, Texas, where she spent all her years. Raised alongside her two sisters, Alessandra and Giovanna, she experienced the early departure of her biological father. Her mother, Juanita, later married Fidel, who became a loving stepfather to her children. Elizabeth shared a close bond with Fidel, who encouraged her aspirations. She excelled in her studies with dreams of becoming a doctor. During her high school years, she met Rudolph Arellano. Despite an age gap that initially concerned her parents, they accepted Rudolph, perceiving him as serious and responsible. At 16, right after high school, Elizabeth married Rudolph. The couple welcomed 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. Elizabeth was determined not to settle as just a housewife. She followed her dream, obtaining a medical degree and working as a paramedic, aiming eventually to become a doctor. Elizabeth, kind-hearted and devoutly Christian, was a beacon of support in her community. But beneath the surface of her seemingly stable marriage, tensions were brewing. Rudolph's growing jealousy and controlling nature led to frequent confrontations, eventually leading to a strained relationship and Elizabeth's decision to file for divorce. Elizabeth's disappearance was a chilling and enigmatic episode that sent shockwaves through her friends and family. Her decision to leave her tumultuous relationship with Rudolph, marked by his fits of anger and jealousy, was an act of immense courage and determination. She sought a better life for herself and her children, taking the first step by filing for divorce and moving into her parents' home. The pivotal moment in Elizabeth's life was soon overshadowed by an eerie and perplexing event. Known for her indomitable spirit and positive outlook, Elizabeth had chosen to spend an evening at a local club in an effort to distract herself from the emotional turmoil of the ongoing divorce proceedings. On the night of April 15, 2016, the 28-year-old mother ventured out to the club, displaying a sense of responsibility by abstaining from alcohol, as she intended to drive herself home safely. Her last known actions included making a reassuring call to a friend, confirming her safe arrival back home. However, fate took a sinister turn, as Elizabeth never made it inside her own house. The following morning, her mother, Juanita, was gripped by alarm when she discovered Elizabeth's car parked outside their home. The vehicle was unlocked, the keys still in the ignition, and Elizabeth's personal belongings left undisturbed inside. It was an unmistakable sign that something had gone terribly wrong. Fearing the worst, Juanita wasted no time and immediately contacted the police to report her daughter missing. What initially appeared to be a straightforward missing person case soon evolved into a complex and baffling mystery. There were no traces of blood or signs of a struggle in Elizabeth's car, leaving investigators with a disturbing conundrum. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance defied explanation, leaving both the authorities and Elizabeth's loved ones grappling with a profound sense of unease and uncertainty. The investigation into Elizabeth's disappearance commenced with a meticulous effort to reconstruct the events of her last known evening. Detectives interviewed her friends and colleagues, seeking to establish a timeline of her activities. Their accounts confirmed the time Elizabeth left the club and the subsequent call she made to a friend, assuring them of her safe return home. However, what surfaced from her phone records was deeply unsettling. Multiple unanswered calls and messages from Rudolph, adding a layer of complexity to the case. Detectives turned their attention to Rudolph, visiting him and questioning him about his whereabouts on that fateful night. Rudolph provided an alibi, claiming that he had spent the evening at a local bar and had returned home around midnight. Some patrons at the bar confirmed seeing Rudolph there, but a significant gap remained in his account of his actions after leaving the bar. What raised suspicion among the investigators was Rudolph's apparent indifference to Elizabeth's disappearance, especially given their shared history and the fact that they had children together. A critical turning point in the investigation occurred thanks to unexpected witnesses who came forward with vital information. A fisherman reported a chilling scene he had encountered on a bridge in the early hours of the morning. According to his account, he had observed a car come to a stop on the bridge, with the driver appearing to throw something, seemingly a body with a heavy object attached, into the water below. This revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation, as it provided a potential link between the bridge and Elizabeth's disappearance. Another witness, who had been walking his dog near the same bridge, reported hearing a piercing scream, followed by the sight of an object falling from the bridge and a subsequent splash in the water. These accounts were deeply troubling and raised suspicions that Elizabeth's disappearance might have taken a sinister turn. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly falling into place, but the mystery surrounding Elizabeth's fate was far from solved. The investigators faced the daunting task of connecting these eyewitness testimonies to the larger picture of her disappearance and uncovering the truth behind the disturbing events of that night. In response to the eyewitness reports, the police wasted no time and initiated a search operation in the waters near the bridge. It was a painstaking and somber task undertaken by divers, fraught with anticipation and dread. Their relentless efforts ultimately led to a grim discovery: the lifeless body of Elizabeth submerged beneath the water. What made this discovery even more chilling was the horrifying sight of a massive piece of concrete, firmly secured to her neck. It was a gruesome and haunting revelation that dispelled any lingering theories of voluntary disappearance. The circumstances surrounding Elizabeth's death, with the concrete block as a macabre anchor, left no room for doubt. It was a stark contrast to the speculations that had surfaced earlier, especially in light of the eyewitness who had seen her being forcibly thrown into the water. Elizabeth's family and friends vehemently refuted any suggestion that she had taken her own life. Their steadfast insistence was rooted in their intimate knowledge of her character, future plans, and unwavering devotion to her children. Elizabeth's life was marked by resilience and hope for a brighter future, making the idea of voluntary disappearance inconceivable to those who knew her best. The forensic evidence, as it began to unfold, provided further irrefutable proof. It revealed a chilling detail: that Elizabeth had been alive when she was callously thrown off the bridge. This horrifying revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation, leaving investigators with a profound sense of urgency and determination. The case had taken a disturbing and sinister turn, raising haunting questions about who could commit such a heinous and heartless act. The investigators now faced the formidable challenge of unraveling the motives and identifying the perpetrator behind this shocking and brutal crime. Elizabeth's tragic fate had transformed a puzzling disappearance into a harrowing murder investigation that demanded justice. The investigation into Elizabeth's disappearance took a significant turn when the focus shifted toward a suspect named Rudolph. Initially, Rudolph claimed he was at home during the time Elizabeth went missing. However, his behavior during questioning and the mounting circumstantial evidence began to cast serious doubts on his alibi. One of the key pieces of evidence that aroused suspicion was related to Rudolph's car. According to multiple eyewitness accounts, a vehicle matching the description of Rudolph's car was spotted near Elizabeth's residence around the time she was last seen. This alone was intriguing, but what further intensified the scrutiny was another sighting of the same car. It was reportedly seen heading in the direction of the bridge from which Elizabeth was later found to have been thrown. The investigation deepened with the analysis of Rudolph's phone records. These records painted a troubling picture. They indicated that Rudolph's phone had pinged cell towers near Elizabeth's workplace and her parents' home on the night of her disappearance. This revelation was particularly incriminating as it contradicted Rudolph's assertion of having been at home all night. Furthermore, a breakthrough came when Elizabeth's young son provided a chilling piece of evidence. He recognized a specific type of rope and concrete blocks in Rudolph's possession. These items were eerily similar to those used in the crime. This recognition by the son was not only emotionally jarring but also added a tangible link between Rudolph and the crime scene. With the cumulative weight of the evidence, the car sightings, the phone records, and the son's recognition of the rope and concrete, the police felt they had enough grounds to arrest Rudolph. Once in custody, Rudolph was confronted with the evidence compiled against him. This included the eyewitness accounts, the phone record analysis, and most poignantly, the testimony of Elizabeth's son. Faced with the overwhelming evidence and the realization that the case against him was formidable, Rudolph's resolve began to crumble. In a moment of concession, he confessed to the authorities. Rudolph admitted to abducting Elizabeth and subsequently to her murder. This confession not only brought a tragic closure to the case, but also highlighted the meticulous work of the investigators in piecing together the circumstantial evidence that led to solving Elizabeth's disappearance and bringing her killer to justice. Rudolph's trial, which began in January 2019, was a highly charged and emotional event. In a packed courtroom, filled with the heavy air of anticipation, Rudolph entered a guilty plea. His confession was a harrowing and detailed account of the events on the night he took Elizabeth's life. Elizabeth's family, present in the courtroom, was forced to endure the excruciating pain of hearing the specifics of her final moments. The atmosphere was thick with grief and disbelief as they listened to Rudolph recount the horrific details. Despite Rudolph's clear admission of guilt, what was strikingly absent was any sign of remorse or empathy. His demeanor in court was cold and detached, and he offered no explanation or rationale for his actions. This lack of remorse was particularly hard for Elizabeth's family and friends, who were seeking some understanding or reason behind the senseless act.
You took my sister. You robbed all of us from being able to enjoy the wonderful and beautiful human that she was. She will never get to see her kids grow up. She will continue to miss out on all the holidays. She will miss out on all the high school graduations, her future grandchildren, and most important, the right to live to be happy and enjoy being the great mother that she was. How dare you? How dare you take matters into your own hands?
When it came to sentencing, the judge handed down a severe punishment. Rudolph was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. This sentence, while severe in its permanence, was seen by some, especially Elizabeth's family, as lenient considering the gravity and brutality of the crime. In an extraordinary display of strength and forgiveness, Elizabeth's family chose a path of compassion over bitterness. Despite the depth of their loss and the brutality of the crime, they focused on the future, particularly on raising Elizabeth's children. They committed to preserving Elizabeth's legacy, one characterized by love and compassion. This decision to forgive rather than succumb to a cycle of hatred and revenge was a testament to their resilience and the enduring power of Elizabeth's spirit in their lives. The trial, though it brought legal closure, left many unanswered questions about the motives and mindset of Rudolph. The community and the media grappled with trying to understand what could drive an individual to commit such a heinous act. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's family chose to redirect their energy toward healing and honoring the memory of their beloved Elizabeth, ensuring that her legacy of kindness and humanity continued to thrive in the hearts of those she had touched. The case of Elizabeth Arellano serves as an enduring and poignant reminder of the devastating impact of domestic violence and the complex challenges that often accompany investigations into such harrowing incidents. Elizabeth's story, though tragically marred by her untimely demise, continues to resonate deeply within her community and beyond. It has become a symbol of resilience, courage, and the enduring power of love. One of the most remarkable aspects of Elizabeth's legacy is the response of her grieving family. In the face of profound loss and heartache, they made an extraordinary choice to forgive. This act of forgiveness, offered to the perpetrator of such a heinous crime, stands as a testament to their incredible strength and resilience. Rather than succumbing to the cycle of hatred and revenge, they chose a path of compassion and healing. Their decision to forgive, while deeply personal, has had a far-reaching impact. It has inspired not only their community but also individuals who have been touched by Elizabeth's story. It serves as a powerful example of how, even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail with love and forgiveness.